Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Shelahiya. You can call me Sela. I'm from Office Administration Education 2018, Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang. Today, I want to tell you about 21st century teacher. 21st century teacher must master a lot of knowledge, academic, pedagogic, social, and cultural. Be able to think critically, be responsive to any change, and be able to solve problems. Teacher can't just come to school to teach. The ability to manage class alone is not enough anymore. Teachers are expected to become leader and agent of change, while able to prepare students to be ready to face global challenges outside of school. In addition, the parent, the role of teacher in directing the future of their student is very significant. You can imagine what would happen if teachers were not ready to face all the challenge of the dynamic of 21st century education, which in fact will continue to change. In the context of a high-inspired professional teacher, he will always have the initiative, be persistent, never give up, and never give up. On the other hand, he will rarely complain, and his heart will always forward with the word. There are two kinds of days: good days and great days. The teacher in the contemporary dimension is described as a human figure who has noble character, is wise, has a stable personality, is steady, disciplined, polite, honest, objective, responsible, attractive, empathic, and authoritative, and exemplary. With his contemporary figure, a teacher must be a dynamic of and forward-thinking or futuristic human being with style of being informative, modern, passionate, and committed to individual and collective development. And last but not least, teachers are required to be able to master IT. Teachers are expected to really be able to inspire the student to be ready to face the challenge of the time. As a professional teacher, it is also obligatory to call in him a spirit of enthusiasm and as encouragement. For this one, the basic thing that a teacher must have in a wealth of knowledge and competence in the material to be taught. Without it, it is impossible for teachers to be able to teach well, straightforwardly, and smartly. The lack of mastery of the material and its parting insight will confine the teacher to inferiority and even feel afraid to deal with students. According to Rediana, 1996, in entering the 21st century education, we experience a paradigm shift with a paradigm shift. First, from terminal learning to lifelong learning. Second, from learning focused on mastery of knowledge to holistic learning. Third, from the image of teacher relationship, students who are confrontational, to the image of a partnership relationship. Fourth, from teachers who emphasize scholastic or academic knowledge to emphasize the ability of value education focus. 5. From the campaign against illiteracy to the campaign against technology, culture, and computer. 6. From isolated teacher performance to performance in teamwork. 7. From exclusive concentration on competition to cooperative orientation. By paying attention to the expert opinion, it appears that education is faced with the challenge of production quality human resource in the face of various challenges and competitive demand. Okay, and then reality on the ground. Stella Ark on 1998 states that the third millennium society will have the characteristic of a technology society, open society, and civil society, which has a worldwide effect, the vision, mission, and a goal of education. The growth of technology will change the shape and way of human life, which will be completely different from human life today. Technology can advance human life, but it will also be able to destroy human culture itself. Technological advancement will also open up a world without boundaries, whether geographically, socially, or culturally. The mutual influence between one nation and another will be main characteristic of an open society. Optimistically, an open society will lead to the birth of a civil society, a society that develops both intellectual abilities as well as other aspects of life and responsibilities. In fact, with the challenging function the future is globalization with a very strong dominance of technology and information. The basic skill that this nation must have should not only be limited to mastering the ability to read, write, and count. And then characteristic of 21st century teacher. Facing the challenges of the 21st century, a truly professional teacher is needed. Stella Ark on 1998 gave characteristic to that the teacher is converted into a professional teacher. Each one is first have a mature and a growing personality, have a skill to arouse the interest of students, have a strong mastery of science and technology. His professional attitude is developing continuously, mastering the subject or curriculum content, proficient and skilled is in pedagogy or teaching and learning, understanding student development and loving them, understanding learning psychology or cognitive psychology, and then the last is health counseling skills. So that what the key skill of 21st century teacher, in accordance with the law, teacher and lecturer must have various competency, including pedagogic competency, academic competency, social competency, and personality competency. In addition to these four competencies, is help students adapt to social and technology change the 21st century. Teacher must also have key skills which include first, accountability and adaptability. As someone who can be imitated, whatever is done and must be trusted by others. In carrying out personal responsibility, have flexibility personally at work and in relationship with the surrounding community. Said that the teacher must be able to set high standard and a goal for himself and for others. And less important, the teacher must also be able to understand the confusion made by his student. Then communicating skill. The second skill is very important for a teacher. No matter how smart a teacher is, if he does not have this skill, he will not be able to transfer knowledge to his student. This skill include understanding, managing, and holding effective communication in various forms and content, both orally, in writing, and using multimedia. And then creativity and intellectual curiosity. So far, the teacher learning is monotonous. One of the causes is the lack of creativity and intellectual curiosity of teacher. The teacher only with the theory of teacher training that we often take care account. Creative skill and intellectual curiosity include developing, implementing, and conveying new ideas to others, being open and responsive to new and different perspectives. Then critically thinking and thinking in system. Critical thinking skills are a process of thinking and acting based on accepting fact, whatever will be done safely, from identifying the possibilities that will arise from an action, trying to provide reasonable reasoning in understanding and making complex choice, and always understanding and establish interconnection between systems. Then information and media literacy skill. In order for the learning process carried out, the teacher in the classroom to be interesting and challenging in this area of globalization and without boundaries. A teacher must be able to analyze, assess, manage, integrate, evaluate, and create information in various forms and media. And then interpersonal and cooperation skill. As social being for life in the midst of society, teachers are also required to be able to show teamwork and leadership, be able to adapt in various roles and responsibility, be able to work productively with others, be able to participate in its place, and be able to respect different perspectives with his stage. And then problem identification, description, and solution. In dealing with the psych-test problem, the teacher should not be careless in responding to it. Therefore, teachers are required to have the ability to compile, express, analyze, and solve problems well. Then, personal preference. As a teacher, of course, every day, if a student was behavior bias, therefore, teachers are required to have the ability to monitor self-understanding and learn the needs needed in learning with appropriate learning resource and transfer learning from one field to another. Then, social responsibility. Parents or communities send their children to a school with the hope that their children will change, both in the term of behavior and competency skill. Therefore, as a person who is required to have social competence, the responsibility in acting on the teacher must prioritize the interests of the learning community, demonstrate ethical behavior personally in the workplace and in the community relationship. Then what is 21st century teacher skill? According to the International Society for Technology in Education, the characteristic of 21st century teacher skill or the information age in the main future divide 21st century teacher skill into 5 categories, namely, first, able to facilitate and inspire student learning and creativity. Second, designing and developing detailed learning and assessment experience. Third, become a model of how to learn and work in the digital age. And then fourth, encouraging and modeling responsibility and a digital society. And then last, participate in professional development and leadership. Then is the role of the 21st century teacher. The demands of the international community for the days of teacher entering the 21st century are not high. Teachers are expected to be able to organize a learning process that relies on and implement the 4 pillars of learning recommended by the UNESCO International Commission of Education, namely, first, learning to know. Learning to know means learning to learn, namely, learning to acquire knowledge and to carry out further learning. This pillar is the key to lifelong education and the basis for lifelong learning. And then second is learning to do. In general, it demands the mastery of competencies that allow a person to be able to live in various circumstances, relate to different situations, learn to work together in terms, and learn to deal with situations that are often as unexpected. And then third is learning to be. In this pillar, it means learning to actualize yourself as an independent individual with a personality that has skills combined with personal responsibility to achieve common goals. And then the last is learning to live together. This pillar is considered as the educational foundation of the previous there three pillars, namely by developing an understanding and appreciation of other people and their history, tradition, and spiritual values, and basing on a new spirit to be able to appreciate it and practice conditions and interdependence in diversity, mutual understanding, and peaceful resolution of conflict. If you look closely, the four pillars require a teacher to be creative, work diligently, and must be able and willing to improve his abilities. Based on this demand, a teacher is finally required to play a more active and more creative role. First, the teacher doesn't only master science as a product, but especially as a process. He must understand the scientific discipline he is pursuing as ways of knowing, because it is more than a scholar who uses knowledge but must master the epistemology of the discipline. And then second, teacher must know students in their characteristics as individuals who are in the process of development, both in their ways of thinking, social and emotional development, as well as moral development. And then third, teacher must understand education as a civilizing process so that they are able to choose learning models and evaluation system that allow the process of socializing various abilities, values, attitudes in the process of studying various disciplines. Challenge of 21st century teacher. According to Susanto in 2010, in S.Pd 1998, there are 7 challenges for teachers in the 21st century, namely first, teaching in a multicultural society, teaching in a society that has this diverse culture with multilingual competence. Second is teaching for the construction of meaning, teaching to construct meaning or concept. And then third, teaching for active learning, teaching for active learning. And then fourth, teaching and technology. And then 5, teaching with a new view of abilities. And then 6, teaching and choice. And then the last is teaching and accountability. Furthermore, Shelahiya 2010 in National News 1998 at the challenge of teacher in this 21st century, namely first, education that focus on the character building, and the second, education that cares about climate change, and then third, entrepreneurial mindset, and then 4, building a learning community, 5, competitive power in no longer intelligence but a creative and intelligence to act hard skill and soft skill. The challenge above are formidable challenges that we must face with rightness and using the right strategy. This strategy must of course be different from what has been applied before. In the wrong formulation is used, the changing times will be toxic to future generation. Teachers who are able to face this challenge are professional teachers who have academic qualification and have competency including professional competence, pedagogic competence, personality competence, and social competence. Okay, thanks for your attention. Bye bye. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.